Miracles happen every day, and miracles happen in every way. I'm the narrator, so hello, hey. Listen to my voice, this film is a mess. The protagonist was born at a pro-choice protest. Narrators tell stories, if you didn't know that, and this is the tale of Keith Rolyat. It was apparent that he got his appearance from his, parents. They met in the afternoon and got to a spoonin' at the annual Rolyat family reunion. And the next thing they knew, man, they had created a new human. On his birthday of March the 12th, Keith looked up at the supermarket shelf. He saw a milk carton, and on the back was himself. Now ain't that something? His parents did this because they really didn't want him, hoping he would catch the hint without having to confront him. But this didn't work and made things quite hectic. Keith could not read the carton. He was severely dyslexic. He tried and tried, but he could never perfect it. Young Keith accepted his disability and remained fairly modest. Plus, he liked seeing his face on dairy products. One day, Keith gave his milk to a dog. The dog was his only friend, but the dog was allergic to milk, and it caused his life to end. The world is crazy tragic, hard for Keith to understand. Could someone please explain it? Maybe Mommy and Daddy can. Nope, they just put the dog's ashes in a rusty coffee can. As a teenager, Keith had to live with his aunt. That's his mother's sister. Should I describe her? No, I can't. She had a mustache like a mister, 3 chins and an eyeball blister, and tasted like vinegar whenever he kissed her. Keith's parents went to the movies and left him with her. They said they'd be back, but they never returned. This made Keith's heart forever weaker. His aunt made him happy, but never complete, though, considering they lived in a circus freak show. Oh, look at that. They would like to meet yo. Meet Unipus, the octopus with only 1 tentacle. An octocorn, 8-horned and magical. Lockfoot, Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster's offspring. So many wonders, I just can't stop talking. I must continue, there's a story to be told, even though it won't appeal to the young or the old, of how Keith Rolyat broke the mold. But first he broke out, from head to toe. This made him the headlining feature of the Circus Freak show, a prominent performer probably never going to find love and care. But then Keith saw a girl with red gloves and green hair. What a lovely love they did share. Promptly Keith properly asked her to the prom, promising to dance all night long. She smiled and said yes. He wore a tux and she wore a dress. His feet wiggled a bit, but the music did the rest. This girl was so pretty and gorgeous galore. She only had 1 chin and no mustache. Need I say more? When they kissed, it tasted like cupcakes and s'mores. I love you, me amours, were the words in her wonderful whispers. But the prom was over, time to call it a night. So Keith returned home to discover a grisly sight. He was just peeking in to pay his aunt a visit. She used the wrong coffee can and was dead in an instant. No more living life or playtime. Apparently his aunt was allergic to canine. Keith was sad, not feeling fantastic. The death of his beloved aunt was rather tragic, so he did something rather drastic, something that everybody would consider weird. He shaved her dead body and wore her beard. The years passed and Keith finally learned to read. He learned real fast, destined to succeed. Hired at the movies, he was now a working man. He felt good with what he was doing, lost in Wonderland, surrounded by cinema and popcorn, but there was a dilemma, a cause for concern, because mostly he just watched the movies and not a lot more. One time, Keith was watching a romantic comedy, and the actress seemed familiar. Keith started frantically vomiting as he tried hard to remember. Flashback to the high school prom. She was his date. He hadn't seen her in so long, and Keith forgot to call her back, which was oh so wrong. But then, unpractical events started happening. With the magical power of love, she jumped out the theater screen. And Keith said he was sorry for treating her mean. But she forgave him, and they began kissing. Lost pieces of his heart were no longer missing. Suddenly the moment got weird and crazy when she fell to the floor dead, allergic to bearded lady. Poor Keith was accused of murder. On death row now, but he didn't mean to hurt her. It was an accident. Keith begged for forgiveness. He sat and awaited his death sentence. Mr. Rolyat could not believe that this is how his life would end. Big Bubba was his cellmate, an only friend. Our troubles don't amount to a hill of beans in this world, even when you get the death penalty, because of this girl. Life was a game that Keith was losing. Oh, would you look at that? It's time for his execution. Keith was strapped in the electric chair. He began to reflect on how life wasn't fair. Soon death would be coming. It was time to prepare. The two executioners seemed very gloom and sad. Then Keith realized it was his very own mom and dad. They felt bad, not sure what to say. His parents apologized for running away. The things they did were wrong and mean, but becoming executioners was their lifelong dream. The Rolyat family got past the hate and started talking. They even helped Keith escape while no one was watching. Out the doors Keith ran. He was free at last. Time to forget his depressing past. But his newfound glee would not last. I thought he was done with it, I must confess. But Keith was trampled to death at an anti-capital punishment protest. This is the end of the movie, and I think you know that. Just like that was the end of Keith Rolyat.